tag this one quick. What up, everybody? We live. Welcome back, bro. Because I know we missed last week. You was doing some cool, awesome shit that I really wanted to check out, but I didn't. So how was everything out there, bro?
Man, it's fire. It was fire. It was a awesome vibe. No issues. Only the worst part about it was some of the lines was just too long because the food was just that good. Um,
That's what's up,
I
bro.
was I was honestly, I ain't gonna say I was surprised because I hate generalizing us like that, but I will say for the record, it was about 90% us in that thing.
With no issue.
No issues. I mean,
Okay, can't ask for nothing
it
better than
was
that.
other cultures, you know what I mean? But it was just the vibe was everybody was just mind everybody was there for the same thing, to enjoy the vibe, to enjoy the food and to enjoy the experience. And I was happy. I was
That's
happy
what's
with it.
up, bro.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna try to keep my Facebook up on my cell phone just to see if some shit jump off that I'm missing here. But let's talk about the topic, right? Men and mediocrity today. What you know what I'm saying, and particularly our culture, right?
Hmm.
Because I think it affects us differently. I don't think we're afforded the same luxuries to be, mediocre, right? So, from my perspective, it's a bigger deal for us, right? We have to, and this is me going back to how I was raised, right? We have to try. A lot of us in this society have to try to do a lot more to be on the same level. So we can't afford mediocrity. We can't afford to try less than others try,
Hmm.
right? But somehow we hear, and I'm trying to figure out, and I want to open that and unpack that. How do we get past where we are and get back to where we were, back to the more traditional style of man, the more traditional masculinity? I'm no fan of Andrew Tate, I think his name is, but one of my guys sent me a little clip, and he was talking about men and women and gender equality and equality in general, and he said some good shit. He was like, listen, men and women are equal in the aspects of we're both equally important, but we are different, right? No man can can carry a child. No woman can impregnate another woman, right? So he had some real points. He talked about how we try to mix this shit up, and I was with him, right? I'm like, I'm not really a big fan of dude, but he has some valid ass point.
But that's all they be talking about. So why are you not why you not a fan of them?
I'm gonna be completely honest, bro. He just look like a bitch. Like I just look at this dude. I just look at this dude. I'm like, you. The words don't match your persona. I know he's got physical strength and he's capable of fighting or whatever the fuck he used to do, but he still look like a bitch to me.
But
Right?
do see what
No,
do
I'm just you ask. I'm giving you
I
the real.
no I
I
respect
am
it,
human.
right?
I am going to judge you on how you
No,
look.
I'm fine with that, but I'm saying based on the criteria you
He look like a bitch,
explain,
bro. I'm
right?
just
But I'm
saying.
saying we don't. But then if he look like a bitch, then it's a lot of men who look like bitches. Then
Which is about to be what we talking about. You know what I'm saying?
no, I wasn't gonna say look like. I'm going about how act like bitches or our actual bitches. I ain't gonna say look like. I don't judge
okay,
men like that.
okay. Well, I'm gonna keep it real. He's like the shit coming out of his mouth don't match who he is, right? I just look at it
Why do you
and
say
it
that though?
bro,
Specifically.
because it don't match to me. I don't know. I was raised around real motherfuckers. He don't appear to be one. That's how it is. I get a vibe from him like, okay, cool. You might say that shit, but you don't live that shit. That's how I strike. He don't strike me as the type of dude who lives the shit he said.
He don't strike you as authentic.
That's authentic, not in the least bit, right?
Okay.
He has a following, but I look at it as a hustle. That's a hustle,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm not necessarily basing it off of that. I'm just saying that I guess I try to operate under the premise of I'm gonna give every man the benefit of the doubt until they show me different,
I
or
I,
I
I
learn
look
different.
at I look at it. I don't necessarily disagree, but I look at him like, bro, he says all this shit trying to teach men all this shit, but I don't see him living that, right? It don't look that way to me. I could be wrong,
I
right?
mean, yeah, I
I'm
guess
judging,
yeah,
100%. But
I'm okay with that. I guess my question would then be like, um, how is that relevant as it relates to the overall message that he's delivering? Because I mean, the standard that he's
I didn't. I just
preaching.
gave him props on his words, right? I don't. I ain't knocking his words. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If I didn't unalive 35 people and I'm up here telling you how listen, I ain't never did shit. You should never do anything wrong. I ain't never did anything wrong. I just feel like that's unauthentic, right? Like you said,
Yeah,
but
but I mean, yeah. Okay, well then I think that it's a good word to use and it's a good angle because that is, I would say, my primary quorum, if that's the right word, or issue, to be on the
okay,
same side with just our collective as men. Like it's social media has provided a space for people, for men, I say specifically, to be inauthentic and specifically in the culture because we are so easily entertained, right? So it's easy to get popular or to get popping, and people will not, they won't analyze you. They're gonna grade you on a different scale, or they may not grade you at all. As long as you entertaining us, as long as you
right.
give us something to look at, then you good with us. And I think that sets us up for having mediocre ass men because if you ain't building shit, if all you doing is glorifying all the things that have not served us well over decades, or if that's what you're selling, then I think that you put us at a detriment.
Hundred
You are
percent,
in fact you are what we believe so-called white people are in most cases.
no doubt. We have changed as a culture of men from if you can do it, I can do it too, to just because you can do it don't mean I can do it. That's the craziest shit, right? I remember
Yeah.
growing up and everybody, like, we learned to do shit because we saw other people doing it. Like if he can do it, I can do it. I've never thought like it's within reason, right? My guy
Yeah.
said Moody was dunking his ass off, bro. I'm like, yeah, good luck, good shit, good shit, my guy. I can't dunk, right? That's all my capabilities. No matter how many times I jumped at that bullshit and didn't make it.
But look,
Um,
let me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that you hit on something that I would like to touch on at some point, even if we don't expound on it right now. But that's what I'm talking about. That athletic slash entertainment shit. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Like, it is indeed a talent, and it is indeed a science when you are top tier at athleticism and or entertainment in some form, right? I've done music for years, I definitely honor it as a talent, right? But I know what it's done to our attention spans. I know what it's really done for us, what it's morphed into, and what so-called rap culture and even entertainment culture has done for us
Man,
culturally it's actually depleting us. And if you ask me, because it redirects our scientists and our engineers and our architects to this type of shit. Because I think any man that could, or woman for that matter, that can either cook up art in a certain way or apply their intelligence to extreme athleticism, you can indeed build a nation, right? You can apply that same genius to building a nation, and we are being drained by that collective of that culture of entertainment and athleticism, and without any real return, because the chances of what we invest in our youth as it relates to those journeys and compared to what it actually yields. I mean, when is the last who out of in the last what 40, 50 years from our area has either went to pro, play professional sports. I say the NBA or the
right.
NFL or a high profile entertainer. That's yielded a lot of economic benefits. Who can you name?
I can. I can name a bunch of people that have got to the first part, right? But yielding the economic benefit, I can't. But let me ask you, and this is realistic shit. Would you invest in us right now if you had the resource? Knowing that how we're talking about mediocrity within our men anyway. In my opinion, that's a risky, probably bad investment.
What do you mean when you say give me an example of investing in us?
Investing in something that's going to benefit us as a whole, right? Education, uh, community, like I don't even want to say community building, right? Because we can go in and build up houses and shit like that, but are we going to take care of them if
Yeah.
we do that, right? That's
Would I invest? Absolutely. Would it be traditional investment? Absolutely not.
what would be some of the things you would invest in. Just give me the one or two. I don't want you to go down the whole list.
I would definitely invest in our educating our youth
100%.
on media, how to use media and technology.
Okay. Okay.
That is, and I know people may not understand why this is important, so I'm gonna explain. We know why technology should, is important, right? But when you look at the history of media, media is what shapes culture. It's what shapes the mindsets of the people, the collective, whether it be your own, your image, your self-image, or the image of others. This is why no other culture is deemed to be inferior as we are in America, right? Because other cultures will not allow someone else to control their narrative, their media, their image. And if when you understand how media works, because it don't matter how intelligent our kids are, if we are deemed to be athletes and entertainers, and we only celebrate that, then that energy that will be put towards using technology in a way that builds is going to be extracted and used as just creating stupid ass dances and shit that keeps
Right.
that makes the platforms grow, and then other cultures will extract. You know what I mean? Other cultures are building, and that's because their self image, their image of their self is builders. You know, when you think Mexican, we think sacrifice, we think hard work, you
Right.
know, you know what I mean, when you think about white men, you think superiority. You know what I mean? That's what their image has been. You don't, even though historically, all there is a healthy version of every person in the culture, and there's
Right.
a trash version of it, right?
100%.
But what I'm saying is that per media, we are the only ones that have this inferiority complex, or that image of us, even to our own men. I mean, our own women.
No
You know
doubt.
what I'm saying? So we are the only ones that still celebrating the first to do this. You see what I'm saying? So
Right. Right.
when you allow the media that feeds into mediocrity, right? When you allow the media to tell you when to celebrate your people and when to believe your people have succeeded, then you will be always be inferior, because if you still right now in 2024 are being told it's the first black person to do this, then you know how far behind that puts you in the
Right. Meant you
minds of
like,
every,
damn, bro. Like
like you the
you
first,
look at it one or two ways.
like,
Damn.
and
We we
historically it's
here
not
or
true.
damn we here. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right. Or when you allow other cultures to teach you your history via media and to put those images up and you accept that, then that's what you're going to always be inferior. So that's why I would invest in the media infrastructure, or the infrastructure of education as it relates to media, in our youth, and how you're supposed to use technology as well.
no doubt. So I want to touch on that, but I want to go back to the first thing, right? Because I do look at the first. I'm like, I look at it like, God damn, it took that long. Like, how did like ain't no that to me? I look at it as more of a the call. We've had some motherfucking major roadblocks that took us way too long to overcome. That's how I look at it, because it ain't difficult to be the first anything. You just got to try the shit, especially in this day and age, right? Like if whether it's first or I wouldn't even say first, it ain't difficult to be anything, right? With the exception of some shit that might only be one person every motherfucking 4 years, president or some shit like that. That takes a little bit more effort. But to be a pilot, to be a marine, to be whatever the fuck it might be, astronaut, you work hard enough, you can do the shit. There are obviously roadblocks, but you just got to work hard and overcome.
Well, that's the thing. But if you only believe in the infrastructure that governs those things, then you're gonna still be inferior, right? If you wait on the dominant society to tell you that you are
100%.
a marine or architect or engineer or
I mean, you
whatever,
got to
then
earn you got to earn it, right? To a certain extent, you got
other
to be capable.
other cultures don't do that. I'm saying, okay, let me use, for example, Dr. Sebi as an example.
Okay.
He is not a Western educated doctor, but he is widely regarded as a doctor across cultures because of what he's demonstrated. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I mean. You got to earn it by, and I'm not necessarily saying a degree. You got to earn it by proving you're
Okay,
capable,
okay,
right?
okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird, and this is
But
I
I'm
don't know how
saying
I want to.
you understand that, but I don't think the culture, the
Right.
collective
I've
understands.
been trying to teach my family for decades. Right. Like, hey, we look at shit different. You know, my grandson has some issues. When I found out his cardiologist wasn't from the U.S., I was like, shh, I feel better. Right. Because I know he earned his way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. With his the other doctor that came. I'm like, when I come in and I see an Indian doctor, I'm like, okay, I'm in good hands. Right? I feel like this motherfucker earned his way because the culture don't let him do it no other way. Right? Can't nobody promote him because his daddy was this dude's friend, blah, blah, blah. You right?
Would
You
you
earn your way.
would you feel that same way if you walked in and seen a so-called black doctor?
I'm absolutely. As long as they ain't one of the motherfuckers that like to put the gold grills up right now, that shit drives me crazy when I see a doctor with a motherfucker gold grill. I'm like, you feeding the bullshit.
I
But
see. Yeah.
right, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, okay, because I know it's hard to get certain places, right? So I feel like if you did it, you wanted it, right? It wasn't given to you. But
Is it just to clarify the gold grill thing? Is that more so because of stigma?
I know it's hood shit. I mean, that's just how we've always done it, right? Everybody, if you look at everybody who has that shit growing up, right? The experiences, the history, the musicians, the entertainers, because that's really where we've seen it. Entertainers and drug dealers. The
Yeah.
fuck calling it a stereotype. It came with negative connotations,
Yeah.
right? Like that. It was. I've never. And maybe it's time. I don't know. I don't think it's time for a change, bro. You shouldn't fuck with your teeth. This is where I'm at, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't fuck with your grill unless you have to. You fix your shit. You don't gold it out. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. What are you trying to? What are you trying to display? What are you trying to promote? Right? Like with a mouthful of gold.
I
Like,
think that we're trying to simulate our idea of wealth, and that's just what we do.
and that's a waste of fucking money,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
like you tried so hard to earn something that so few have done, but let me go make sure you know I'm still one of y'all. Like I don't give a fuck about that,
Yeah, but here's the thing. You don't, but the culture
right?
celebrates that type of shit. That's what I'm saying about mediocrity. We celebrate mediocrity. It doesn't take much for us to convince each other that we're doing well.
Right.
And it's like when you understand what real money is, matter of fact, when you understand what money is at all, then you know that the money itself has no value.
Right.
It's how you leverage it as a tool.
That's it.
But money is not. I would rather be a person with like I would ask you this question, and I kind of may be able to assume what your answer would be, but I'm gonna ask you anyway.
All right.
Would you rather be a person with $1 million and on your own operate independently, or would you rather have several quality relationships and minimal money?
Love for me, the love of my family trumps everything, bro. Right? Like I'd rather have because that money don't mean shit, right? And what I mean by that is
No,
it
and
can.
I'm saying business related type of
Oh,
relationship.
I'd rather have the relationships. Me personally,
Right.
right? And here's why. I can leverage the relationships to build more,
Right.
to have more, to
Yeah.
learn more, to be more, to do more.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't, I have relationships right now that I can utilize to benefit myself and others. Right? Relationships that don't even make sense for me to truly have when I look at the grand scheme of things. Right? I'm not rich. I'm like everybody else. I gotta earn a living. But I have a banker. I can call and say, hey, listen, I got something going on. I need to talk to you. I can pop in the bank open at 9 a.m. I can sit in the bank at 8:30. Right? Doors locked. They let me in. Right? Like it's a relationship. When my guy needed a house and he was a business owner, but he didn't have, he was a new business owner, didn't have the 2 years of history that he needed, tax history to be able to prove. I was able to leverage my relationship with my banker to help him get a $250,000 loan for his house. Right?
Yeah, that's fire. I'm
Right?
shit.
Like I have relationships that I have built with different people, and I'm doing things for other people as well. Everything is not a take, right? I'm giving to, right? I'm plugging people up. I got a meeting tomorrow with a young man who wants to get into the technology industry. It's a friend of mine. We went to school together, right? He's like, hey man, my son really is interested in this technology stuff. Could you talk to him sometime? Could you give him some advice? I'm like, yeah, let me, connect him with me, give me his email, whatever. We're gonna meet, sit down and talk, see if I can get him in industry, right? Throw him some work or whatever. I connect people through relationships, right? It has the money is necessary to survive, but the relationships are necessary to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The more people you know, the it's different, bro. Like it's hard to put into words, right? But you have relationships that allow other things to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to a cat today who he was like, man, my his I'm trying to think of how his wife works or his mom worked at this school where like all the Spurs sent their kids. So he got to chill, you know what I'm saying, with Popovich and shit like that. They, you know, they were going to the games with Popovich's wife because they were, you know, his mom was friends with just a regular chick. Just the connections, you know, bro, changes shit. And I'm not making, you know, that's not the top tier shit to do. But I'm just saying it was interesting, right, for them to be able to use those and leverage those relationships. So me personally, I'm gonna choose the relationships over the money because hopefully I can build more and help people build more.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this then. Why do you think we accept mediocrity culturally?
Because I think we are scared of success. I think we're scared of success because success makes us feel again we like you said media has shown us or has taught us or has we have allowed it. I'm gonna go a different route. We have allowed it to instill in us negative beliefs and negative thoughts of ourselves. We fear success. I've talked to I don't know how many of my friends. I'm like, bro, start a business, start a business. I'll help you out. I'll do the fucking paperwork for you. Won't charge you a penny. Cost you $100 in Indiana at most to start you an LLC. That's registering with the government, registering with the state. This, oh man, I don't know what I want to do. You get up every day and do fucking something, right? You do it for somebody else. Get up and do it on your own. I was talking to a young man that I remember I had a picture. It was so funny. A picture of me and my wife way back when we first started dating, 1992, sitting on my mom's porch. This little young brother there. He was a little kid then, right? I ran into him, you know what I'm saying, some years later. And, you know, we rapping and so I'm like, man, what do you do? He's like, oh, I work at a bank, this, that, and the other. I'm like, bro, absorb that knowledge. Take those next 10 years, because you're young. He's in his 20s, low 20s. Take those next 10, 12 years, absorb that shit. And then whatever it is you do, start a company doing it. I'm not saying you can start a bank, but if you're a loan officer, start your own loan company, right? It ain't your money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to get people to see the value of doing it for yourself, right? Obviously, everybody can't be a business owner because somebody got to work, right? But there are people who, especially if you're in the streets, bro, like the concept of street life is the same as business, right? You got to be the CEO, you got to be the CFO, you got to be security, you got to be marketing, you got to be, you know what I'm saying? Loss prevention, you got to do all the same shit. Marketing, sales, supply, you got to do all that. Like if you can, hustling is like running a business with way more risk. If you ever hustle, don't tell me you're scared to start a business. Worst case scenario, you fail, you go home. Worst
Right.
case
I
scenario.
don't think it's fear. I just think it's lack of belief in self. You don't believe that you can do it.
I mean, for me, that's fear. That's fear of success. You don't believe in yourself. I mean, what's? I don't understand how you not believe in yourself, right? Like,
Well, if you don't, I'm saying if you don't see yourself like that, right? It's like to believe something, you have to have some kind of vision, like see yourself as something,
I'm with you.
right? So I mean, if you ain't never seen yourself, now like I said, that's what I'm talking about media. If you only absorb in a certain level of a certain type of media, you're not going to be able to compartmentalize you on a certain level. There are those of us who are always open to outside of what we want to see something, we want to experience something different. That's per our personality, right? So we going to I'm not a fan of country music, but I definitely want to hear this shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear the music that's tied to the status quo all the time. I don't want to hear the music that I
I'm with
create.
you.
You know what I mean? Like I create, I'm a hip hop baby. You know what I mean? I love that music, but I don't want to hear it all the time. I want
I'm
to
with you.
hear other type of music because that opens my mind up to other possibilities. You know what I mean? Because the reality is this: there are we are embedded in the history of every other culture, right?
100%.
There are so there a black cowboy should not be a foreign concept to us if we understand history, right? A so-called black anything, and even but
Right.
but if we only consuming if our eyes are only redirected to rap and then a certain kind of rap, then that's all we're gonna see ourselves as. If our eyes are only glued to athleticism, the NBA, when they put, and that's why I believe they hoist up, the people like LeBron and or even Michael Jordan, like that they hoist them up because it's like that's what they want us to see
I
ourselves
mean,
as.
we cattle. Like we are
Right,
legit. We're legit cattle because we
right,
play that role,
right,
right?
and we accept it. That you
Right.
know what
I'm
I'm
not
saying?
saying don't. If you have that talent, maximize it. Right. If my choice is go to the NBA or start a hot dog stand, and I got the capability to do both, I'm going to NBA. I'm gonna get that money, and then when I'm retiring, then I'm gonna go do the business shit. Right. I'm gonna put my family in the best position. But I think
But I'm saying collectively we don't. But if we
right, it's a small
leverage that,
percentage,
if we
bro.
leverage that collectively, though, I'm saying why do there's no way a culture we are so inferior that over what has it been like 3.5 decades now, or no, actually about 4 decades strong now. We are so inferior, and I'm literally speaking to
This is by choice.
the men, right?
Yep.
That we have spent the last 4 decades building the NBA into a power structure without realizing that we are literally the value in it.
The NBA.
Without
Shit.
without without saying that no, we collectively we need ownership. Even I don't care if it's just residuals,
Right.
right? We need ownership. We need to, and we still are not. We won't even leverage our ability because I just think that we see ourselves as inferior. We don't see ourselves as owners.
I'm gonna say, and it sounds fucked up, but we still for sale, right?
Right, right.
We and I said it, I had this conversation with one of my guys. I'm like, bro, we're still for sale. "Oh, what you mean? I'm like, there's a certain amount of money you could pay
Right.
certain black folks, and they gonna do some fuck shit, or be like, you know what, fuck y'all,
No,
right? To everybody else,
you
right?
just
And
said some shit. You just said some
I
shit.
mean,
With that one.
it's a sad fact. You know what I'm saying? And I proved it to one of my. I said, here's who I am. I'm not going to do anything for money that I would not do for free. That's who I am. If I'll do it for free, I'll do it for money. I'm not. You can't. There's no amount of money you can make me do some shit I'm not willing to do. It's just not it. And I've walked away from a hell of a lot of money in different deals because I'm like, I can't live with me if I do that. Right? I have to live with me. I have to be able to look my wife and my children in the eye and say, you know what? I made this decision and I'm okay with it. Right? And there's some shit I ain't okay with, so I don't do it. Does it mean that that was always the best financial move? No, but I can't use money as the justification for me doing some fuck shit to myself. You know what I'm saying? To put myself in that position.
Yeah.
I think we have this discussion. Like I was telling my guy, we were talking about, you know what I'm saying, Black Wall Street. Right? We talking about how all that shit that went down. He said, man, every time we try to get something, they take it from us. I said, bro, then we should be getting blew the fuck up every day. Right? Like, dude, why are we stopping? Well, every time we try to come together, U.S. government come through and take it, then let them keep going, bro.
But bro, I just think that shit's an excuse, though.
And that's, bro. Listen,
don't
I'm
buy
gonna
into
lose some people right now. We like excuses. We will choose an excuse over action damn near every fucking day. Action requires some kind of accountability, right? That's like I do this shit with my guy, bro, and I mean we be going round and round. I'm like, bro, you making excuses. I don't give a fuck that you were raised in this fucked up ass situation. You're grown now. I'm not saying him, right? I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Everything plays a part in your life, right? Your upbringing plays a part. But at a
Yeah.
certain point, you wake the fuck up and you realize this is the decision I'm making, right? And I use it because we were talking about cats in the hood, been through some fuck shit. But I'm like, bro, every time the police pull up, they motherfucking run. You know right from wrong, right? You know different shit that you shouldn't do and shit you should. You make these decisions, right? Having 10 fucking babies by 10 goddamn people that's not society making you do that, bro, right? It's us making that okay. We'll
Yeah.
look at a motherfucker with 4 marriages, like that motherfucker crazy. 4 baby mamas, 4 baby daddies. Like, well, shit happens.
That's another thing. Like I said, we normalize the blended family, you know what I mean, which is counterproductive to traditional, strong traditional family
Bro.
units. Don't get me wrong, oppression exists for sure.
doubt.
Oppression exists, but it exists across cultures, right? Other groups of people have learned to persevere through that oppression, and there's intercultural oppression as well. I
100%.
think that we contribute to or are complicit in our own oppression more so than other cultures to us. Definitely at this point in time. Like I said, I would never just undermine, you know, the construct of racism. I'm not going to totally undermine it, but I just think you have to choose to subscribe to it for it to have the type of power that it has over us as a culture these days.
I will say I mostly agree, right? And what I mean by that is racism has some huge impacts, but I don't think we get to a point where that's our problem right now. I think I said this one of the early days. I'm like, we got to get back to where racism is our biggest motherfucking problem.
But here's the thing: if racism was really our biggest problem,
No, it's not.
right? But even if it was a problem, right, it would be a problem for every single black person, and we literally criticize the so-called black people who really who aspire to move out to suburbs and away from it all. We won't even credit them. We don't give them the same validations as we give those of us that are, quote unquote, from the hood or choose to stay in the hood. So
Right.
once again, we celebrate mediocrity. But what my point is this: racism, to me, only works when you believe in it, when you buy into it.
100%.
Piece of shit people exist everywhere. You know what I mean?
Obstacles exist.
Yeah,
For
so
different reasons.
right. So it wouldn't to me. It is not too much different for a person to be racist or like to not give you an opportunity or to block an opportunity because your skin color or because you of your gender or
Right.
because of they just don't like you. You know what I mean? Or because of nepotism, right? Like I'm saying, like it's
100%.
no different. Like like the same effect that it would have for me to block opportunities for somebody else's family to bring my family into these positions is no different than a person that's saying, if you white, I'm white, you to the front of the line. It's the outcome is the same. You know what I mean?
Right. Regardless of the reason,
Yeah.
the outcome is the same.
So oppression, like I said, oppression exists. That's why I'm saying it, and I know it exists in a racial construct as well. But if you believe that to me, anywhere I go, I'm going to be judged on anything outside of the caliber of my character. I don't want to be anyway. It's not an opportunity for me. If I know
Right.
I got a job, like okay, we had to put somebody black in this position, so we chose you.
I don't want it.
Man, what the like?
Bro, let me can I excuse me for let me touch on that, right? Because so I'm gonna lay it out here. I worked for a company, right? And I'm gonna not say the name, but they made some big ass trucks, military use some. Then they had the civilian versions, right? There's a position that opened, right? And my direct boss came to me. He's like, man, listen, I know you're the most qualified person for this position, but I don't want you to apply for it. We got something better in mind for you, right? And I'm picking up what he's putting down, right? So he's like, we got this other position. So and so's gonna retire. I'm gonna take her position. Then I'm gonna give you my position. So don't worry. Don't apply for this. We got you on the next one. I was like, bet. And then I applied for it. You know what I'm saying? And he came to me. He got pissed. Man, why'd you apply for it? We wanted to give it to Brian. I said, bro, give it to Brian. But what you wasn't gonna do is tell me I didn't get it because I didn't apply. It's on you what you do with it, right? And that shit went to the president of the company. I had a meeting with the president of HR, president of all this. Like it was the CEO, and they're like, oh man, this is because this happens. I told him, I said, I know what it is. Y'all wanted to give it to a white man. That's cool. But you're not gonna give it to this white man and tell me, well, if I would apply for it, I would have got it. You're not gonna play. So then we sat down, the vice president of HR, the CIO of my department, and I think the vice president of the company. They're offering me this big ass promotion. I said, man, the only reason y'all are offering me this fucking promotion is because I'm complaining about some shit, right? You gonna give this shit to me so you can say, see, we promoted this brother. I said, I don't want it. I said, as a matter of fact, I'll be stupid to take it because you're looking to me. I feel like you're trying to find a way out, right? You're trying to get me out. You gonna break. Everybody's gonna fuck up at work, bro. That's reality. You gonna let me do my first fuck up? You gonna get rid of me? I said, y'all can have this whole fucking job, bro, and I changed company.
Yeah.
Right? I was just like, for me, I don't want a handout. I don't want a handout for shit. I don't. And this is just me, bro. Like I don't understand dudes who take sympathy sex. Like what the fuck, bro? You badgered that woman until she finally gave me like, all right, let's whatever. Like that shit is weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't want shit for free. Now,
that's what we do, though. I'm saying, even when you think politically, we just subscribe to we Democrats.
you gotta earn. You gotta earn. That's what I
Right.
say, you gotta earn my shit. I am. Like I said earlier, bro, and I keep it 100% real. I am way more liberal than anything else, right? But you don't just you still gotta appeal to some shit that I think is beneficial, right? I don't vote straight Democrat. I vote depending on who the fuck you are, right? and that's just the reality. For me, you have to earn me, right? There are certain things I'm always going to be for, right? And I don't want to go down a political path, right? But it's certain shit I'm always going to be for, whether it benefits me or not, right? Sometimes I vote against my personal benefit in local elections, different shit, because I think it benefits the collective, right? I am for what I believe is right. Am I always right? Fuck no. I've been wrong a lot. I'm going to be wrong a lot more. But for me, I have to feel like whatever it is, I'm doing this shit because I think it's the right shit to do. I don't want a fucking handout. Like to me, and this is the problem. I don't want anybody ever look at me and say, because of me, you did that. Right? Now I have people who can say, man, listen, I can go to somebody and be like, man, this dude, because of this dude right here, I was able to do this, this, and this. He didn't give me shit. He showed me the way. He opened the door, she opened the door, they opened the door, whatever the case may be. But I don't,
That's just honor and homage, though.
and that's it, bro. I pay respect and honor and homage to those who have paved a way for me to do something.
But that's easy to do because well, it should be easy to do because that's the case for every single one of us.
Right. Somebody made the way for everybody to do whatever.
Like nobody, I know sometimes we like to tell each other that we self-made or we did it, ourselves, or we got it, or per our culture, we got it out the mud. It's like, who celebrates struggle? You know what I
Man,
mean? Like I do not want my kids to get it out the mud by no means. I
none.
like the fact my daughter, my 8-year-old, thinks that I'm rich. I want her to think that.
Right, right, right,
I want her to think that, and I'll shape her idea of what rich is as she gets older, right? Because all it is just my investment in my family,
right.
and that's where the value is. Because what I know is that eventually I got to get on up out of here, right? And I don't know what that looks like, and I know I'm going to need them. So I know that my investment in them is going to allow them to have enough compassion to say, hey, Dad, he put on the line for us, so we gonna honor him. If we
100%.
if we got to take care of him on his way on out, we'll do that. My investment in them, so it's the same, and that's what I want her to understand about. You pick the right people, that it becomes your family. You create your family, and you invest in them. You pour into them, and you hold them accountable for reciprocating that energy, and that's what being rich is all about. Y'all can do anything.
Right. No, I mean, and that's what it is, bro. Especially as dad, right? Would think the same thing, right? I realized my daughter thought I was rich when she asked me to buy her a Birkin bag, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Right? I didn't even know what it was at the time, but I'm like, "Okay, we are definitely not. We ain't rich, but we're love rich, right? We are rich with family. Like it's weird because a lot of people think I've heard a thought. Oh, you think you better than somebody because you too good to go back to the hood? No, I like my motherfucking life, bro. I didn't like growing up in that shit. There was nothing about gunshots and drug dealers on my corner that was cool, right? So no, I don't want to be in the motherfucking hood at all. I don't care if I ever go back, right? I would prefer never to go back.
You know what?
Why would I put myself in an unsafe fucking environment? And I'm a target now. You know what I'm saying?
The strangest thing about the concept of the hood is that people actually believe it's always been emerged in poverty. They think it's always been like that. They don't realize that at one point this was a thriving neighborhood.
Man,
But it became people's buy-in to other things or people's lack of appreciation for what they had that brought the value down, right? And then the people who were not ever willing to subscribe to that went somewhere else, and others stayed. And then it became this construct within our culture that, for some strange reason, holds this level of value that we don't even. If we really value the hood like we say we do, we would maintain it a lot
man,
differently. If we really valued it like that, right? We wouldn't accept mediocrity. We wouldn't accept the degradation of our women and children by circulating drugs or whatever through that motherfucker. Like we wouldn't tolerate that shit. We wouldn't tolerate a certain level of violence and disrespect from our children. We would value the family construct. We wouldn't do a lot of the shit that we do if we really valued the hood the way that we claim to value it.
the craziest thing about the hood is people are dying for shit they don't own nothing on. People have died on blocks, old block, whatever you want to call it, right? Motherfuckers died on the street I grew up on, claiming the hood. Like, you don't own shit on this block, bro. You don't own shit in this city, and you dying for a street you don't even pay taxes on, right? Like, that's crazy as fuck to me. We've lost what's the word I want to look for? We've lost the the parents who instilled in people value in themselves and the things around you. We didn't have a lot growing up, but the shit stayed clean. Right, my mom's house stayed clean. The yard stayed cut. Right, it was a little shit. Like you take care of the shit you have.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, that shit is gone, bro.
We had men who value being providers and protectors, and we had women who value being nurturers. I mean, it was a level of value. I believe my grandmother took a great level of pride in waking up in the morning and cooking breakfast for all of her grandchildren. That's at least how it felt to me. It didn't feel like it was a burden.
Right, it wasn't
You know,
wasn't forced.
yeah,
Right,
she didn't seem like she was bothered by having to do it, and we were her second children. We weren't even her first children. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
I
then
think it's.
it just
Go ahead, my
became,
bad.
yeah, no, it just seemed like over time it became a burden. You know what I mean? For women to be women and for men to be men, and now we're in this weird space to where we are actually criticizing each other for not being the version of something that we didn't even appreciate
Right.
enough to maintain it.
So let me touch on that one, right? Because I'm on this is weird as shit, but I'm on Facebook arguing with black men about disrespecting black women, right? Motherfuckers like, you're a white wife, you don't even fuck with. I'm like, bro, that's not the case. I picked one woman, right? If I had 13 wives and all of them were white, then you could say some shit to me like, bro, you don't fuck with sisters. But I only get one wife. That's the lifestyle I want to live, right? Here's what I think happens. Social media, right? Dudes are like, man, chicks got access to all these different dudes. I don't think that's really the issue. I think a lot of dudes realized when they had access to a lot of women, they still weren't desirable, and that fucked them up. Right? If I'm shooting my shot 2 or 3 chicks and they shoot me down, well, shit, fuck them, something wrong with them. But when I got access to 100 million chicks and 100 million shoot me down, that's gonna fuck with my ego to the point where now I'm like, okay, chicks like you are shitting on me, not taking accountability or respect for myself for picking those type chicks. Right? Like I explained
Yeah.
to one of my homies, I'm like, bro, you mad at the sexy reds, right? For being sexy reds. Instead of being mad at yourself for wanting to try to turn her into a motherfucking wife. Like, common sense says you don't pick a woman like that. Right? But I think
But look though, not to cut you off, but I'm saying, do you think that the how she's being celebrated has something to do with that? Because I see a lot of so-called black women celebrating that type of energy.
I see a lot of women of all cultures celebrating that. Right? Prime example. I have a cousin who's married to a white chick. She loves sexy red. Right? Music. She go home and she do her wifely duty. She raise her kids. She cook my cousin's his breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. She
Okay.
does the wife shit. She separates
Right.
the music, right, from the person.
I'm gonna tell you
Right.
the difference though. There's a difference.
We can't do that. We weren't taught to
Right.
do that for some reason.
All right, so here's the difference. A lot of cultures do live vicariously through us, through our imagery, right? So if you are of a different culture, it's easy for you to just immerse yourself in what you believe our experience is and experience that, and then separate that from who you are. But when you look at that and you see yourself in that, a lot of our women remember themselves as that.
But why, bro? Like it helped me understand because, you know, a lot of people I met as an adult was like, well, you don't know. It's like, you got a little money, this and the other, bro. I grew up in the hood. I got a GED. Never set foot in a college class. Right? I was in the streets. I did all the street shit. I ain't gonna go into details. I did all the street shit that everybody else did. But it was never to impress somebody. Right? It was to provide
Yeah.
a way out for my family because I was too ignorant to realize there were other ways to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair to myself, right, I didn't have the internet, but I did have the library, right? Like I was the only cat in the library reading to figure out how much time I would have to do if I got caught with this or that or the other. And I made sure that I was not willing to ride with whatever I was not willing to get caught with. Because I know if I had a perfect criminal history, right? I had nothing on my record. If I get in trouble first time, probation. Then I got to figure some other shit out.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm making excuses because I could have been in there reading about different careers that I could do. Right? But I was susceptible as a youth to I'm going to say peer pressure. I realized at about 14 years old, peer pressure has no value in my life, and I cut that shit off immediately. When I was young, I didn't want to wear my glasses because motherfuckers talk shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting in the back of the class, not being able to see shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it took until my mom was like, "What the fuck is going on? You're smarter than this, right?" And I sat down and I told mom, "They pick on me, blah blah blah." She's like, listen, in 10 years, you ain't gonna see none of them. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and do what you need to do. But I realized at a certain time, peer pressure, it has zero impact on me. I
Yeah.
was able to simply look at that shit and be like, you know what? If that worked for you, that worked for you. That cool, right? It shit isn't ruining me.
Yeah, so I think that overall with humanity, I mean, we can separate it by culture, right? But I think overall, there are those of us who, no matter what, our personalities are always going to be open. All we need is somebody to tell us. So one way or another, we're going to figure it out. We were never going to. We were destined to be, just something bigger than what we were born as, right? But then the majority needs more than that. And I think that and that's across cultures, right? So, but other cultures have this standard for themselves. And so they give that extra support and those resources, and they redirect and they stick with, they invest in their youth because they realize that this is going to be these are going to be our predators, who our successors, right?
Right.
And they know that, so they know that we have to protect their image. We have to protect them. We have to invest. No matter what, we're not going to find ourselves on the internet talking down on our own kids that we raised. Like, what the fuck? Like, we do this. We literally get on the internet and say, what is wrong with these kids? Like, they not our kids.
Right. Putting
Like,
kids out
what
at
the
18
fuck
and
are you?
shit.
Yeah.
Bro, I
Right.
saw a post and the chick said something like, what the fuck? Who does that? Kid living with his parents at 30. And bro, the comments went way different than she expected that shit to go. Everybody's like, the only people that really be tripping on their kids living at home is us. Right. And we, and we put ourselves in these fucked up positions. But I have a little different, I think I look at it a little bit different than other cultures not allowing themselves to be shit on it. I look at it as how we used to be. It wasn't that we didn't want to shit on each other. It was more, I want to leave a better place for my kids than I had, right? It was, I want my kids to be better off than I was. I think we lost that somewhere.
No, I think we overdid it, honestly. I see what you're saying, but I think we overdid it.
But I think every culture, collectively, the United States has
Well,
overdone it.
I get to know what I'm saying is this, that the difference is that we did this out of trauma. So out of trauma, we not only pulled our kids up, we shielded
We
them.
overcompensated.
Yeah, and we still doing it to this day. Like we don't even allow each other to discipline each other's kids. I feel awkward doing it now, and I'm a disciplinarian. But
Bro, yeah, we different because
no,
listen,
what I'm saying is this: I doubt that any kid you see, you gonna proceed the same way. Are you not going to assess it from
so it
different
depends on the age of the kid. Right? I'll give you an example. Me and my guys.
But it didn't always depend on the age.
Well,
of the
it
kid.
depends on the age of the kid now because some of these little motherfuckers got guns.
That's what
you know
I'm
what I'm
saying.
saying.
That's all I'm saying right there.
It's realistic now, right? 13 and up, I ain't got shit to say to you because you probably strapped.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But in fairness, I remember growing up. I'm not gonna call it bullying, right? My guy's cousin. Every time I see this little motherfucker, he punched me in dip. He was the fastest motherfucker I knew, bro. And I was pretty fast, but I couldn't catch him for shit. And I'd be mad as hell. And being an idiot, I was, young, and I told somebody, man, I need a gun when I see him. They was like, bro, the motherfucker told me, little motherfucker, if you ask for a gun, I'll beat your ass. Right? That's what an older cat told me. And I wasn't really serious about the shit, but I was talking trash. We lost those dudes. Now we are giving those little guys guns, right? To go do grown man shit.
But that is a culmination of what happens over decades when we lost values because we were too busy trying to overcompensate, and we now, because when I think back, there's always, even with my own ancestors, there were always grown kids living with my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't nothing
100%.
wrong. They was contributing to the household though.
That was normal shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Get your shit together and then you move.
We were we didn't really deal with other things that was going on with us. And so that made a lot of us as kids wanted to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of the environment, right? So, and it took that for us to really come out of certain things. But for me now, I'm looking at it like I tell my grown kids, like, hey, look, you can stay here as long as you want. You can come here at any time. This is our home. As long as we got a plan that's going to allow us to be successful collectively. You're not gonna
Right,
come
right.
here and,
And
and,
do
and,
nothing.
and run for shelter. No, we not run for cover. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? But you can stay here as long as you want, as long as you are contributing to the household and the family collective.
The well being of the total.
Yeah,
So
you know what I
so
mean?
how did we get to today's mediocre ass men? Right, like I want to blame it on single moms, but I'm like, single moms ain't create these motherfuckers by themselves. Right, like I know, and most so-called black men know, it is next to impossible for a woman to raise a man as a man, right? And I don't mean that you can't raise a kid, a boy, into an adult, right? If you feed
It
him
is
and you
impossible.
water him and you feed him, he gonna fucking grow up, right? Like we know that.
That's maintaining, but you no, I think it
You
is
can't
impossible.
teach him
You
to be
can't.
a man,
You can't.
just as I can't teach a girl to be a woman.
Do you know what I
Because
mean? You know what I mean? People that won't buy into that concept today from our culture,
millions, shit,
right?
millions.
Crazy.
But here's why: if you tell, like, if you think about the average chick that has a kid that's single, and you tell her you can't raise your son to be a man, she immediately looks at herself as a failure because you're telling her she can't do something that she essentially has to do or believes she has to do, right? But that is why that's where I'm torn when it comes to the blended families because I'm like I'm not a fan of it, right? It's something I told myself I'd never do. I'm
Right.
never gonna put myself in that position, but I understand the value now more than ever because it's some young boys and young girls who need that other parent, right? We don't have the same structure as we did. Like we don't have the neighborhood boys and girls
Right.
clubs. You know, we
Right.
had the center when we were younger. So if you didn't have
Right.
parents, you go, now the shit is ran by the people we really don't want to fuck with,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So how did we get to a point where it is so fucked up? Because I feel like as so-called black men, we are blaming black women for every fucking thing, everything that's wrong with us. Right now, it's like, oh man, our moms were so fucked up. Like, okay, cool, moms might have been fucked up, right? But you can't continue riding the mom was fucked up bus.
Yeah, but I think I think it's both though. It's like we may blame black women for everything, but then also black women won't take accountability for anything, right? So once again,
Bro, I don't think that's any woman that takes accountability for shit. Let's just keep it
well,
real.
I mean,
Of
but
any culture,
it
right?
matters. It matters for you know. What I mean, we don't other. I don't think other
True
cultures
that. True
put
that.
their women in a position to where they even have to face this type of like just think about it. The type of what we are talking about, what we are actually debating, whose fault it is that our children are ruined. Other cultures don't really deal with that
Right.
collectively, right? I think that so-called black women fail for constructs that do not apply to us culturally. And I think that so-called black men fail to force, to lead like strong patriarchs and refuse to allow us to even get into that position. I do believe in, and I just came to this revelation maybe just over the past year that I do believe in sometimes ruling with an iron fist. I believe that sometimes it's necessary.
I'm gonna shit. I mean that's just how it. You call it ruling with an iron fist, but that was just how it was. Right.
Right,
That's how
right. But I'm saying it so people can understand because
we lost masculinity
yeah,
in our
yeah,
culture.
yeah, and that
Right.
and because at some point we just the men collectively said fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you when I realized this shit was fucked up. I was probably, I don't know, I'm gonna say 28, 29. I'm out, you know what I'm saying, with one of the homies. We go to the bar and I'm like, bro, it's a circle full of brothers dancing. There ain't a chick around. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
I hated that shit. The niggas dancing and do
I
man.
said in a circle, I'm like, and then I'm seeing y'all keep the chicks out the circle. Right. I'm not a dancer, bro, but you throw you throw slow jam on, give me something with some soft ankles. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull something close to me and you know what I'm saying, and enjoy my time with the slow music. They don't even play slow jams at a anywhere.
So
Right?
look,
If you hear some shit that's slow, you at a 40 and up spot.
right.
Right? You happen to roll into some shit. But bro, that I looked at that shit, I'm like, y'all ain't got no, my exact words, y'all ain't got no bitches. Like y'all
So
just
yeah. So look, this what I mean when I say there are certain caliber of men that are just naturally born a certain way, right? You yourself you identified, you found your wife years ago, right? And you are because you are naturally you submitted to your natural attraction to fem and need for femininity, right?
100%.
Me growing up as hood as I call myself being at certain points or whatever, me and the niggas I hung around, we always kept girls around, and we always wanted to end up with girls.
That was
That's
the plan.
and that's just what it
Always.
was. So, and I'm saying that a man that understands that is going to always understand the value of women, and is going to always be super masculine. You know what I mean? Like that's we just are not going to abort that totally at any point in our lives. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that, but there are literally men who thrive on bashing women. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand it. I understand getting to a point where you like, man, you know, you getting tired of these motherfuckers, but that's as far I at
Bro,
the
if you hate your job, change where you work. You
as
know what I'm
simple as
saying?
that. As simple as that. Like I take a break then. You know what I mean? But I'm not.
Figure out what's wrong with you that you keep pulling these weird motherfuckers that you don't like.
Man, I don't need nobody to survive, but I want to thrive, right? So I need a woman with me.
We
And
have
I need women around. That's just what
so
it is.
you said that the other day. You like if you put yourself around good women and your enemies will show who they are,
Absolutely
right?
100%.
And that's some of the realest shit, right? Like you realize when you have a good woman and good women around you, how much other motherfuckers really hate that, bro. And instead of encouraging it, like man, that's you know you blessed. That's a beautiful thing. I love what you have going on. You know all the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers start looking for the chinks in the armor,
Yeah,
right? You ever have a homie, bro, or a motherfucker you grew up with? Somebody could pull up with the fresh painted car. He could be like, yeah, but it got a scratch right there.
yeah, yeah.
You know them motherfuckers, right? They exist,
Mediocre men. That's what I'm talking about.
right?
That's
And,
what we're
and it's
talking about here.
crazy because I don't get it, right? I'm a gym dude. I'm in the gym a lot. I'm in the gym in the cheapest shit I got. But I got it's motherfuckers in the gym I ain't never seen wear the same shit twice. I'm talking about men. Like, bro, you all dressed up to get sweaty? Like, what? You with your boys? You ain't trying to. You don't go to the gym. I'm gonna keep it real. You don't go to the gym to impress women because it's always gonna be a stronger, bigger, more ripped, more lean. But these motherfuckers, 3-4 dudes deep, all wearing fresh ass shit. I'm like, y'all crazy. You were trying to impress your homies, bro.
Yeah, man, that's that feminine shit. Like, I mean, like I say this all the time. Like I love when I see when I come across another man that's like that what they say today, like he popping his shit, like he feeling himself. I love it. I love it. Like, yeah, I like how that energy looks because I can relate to it. I know
Right,
how it feels when you feel like I'm when you on top of the world. I know how it feels when you at the bottom
bro.
too. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
giving love. Hey, bro, that suit fire.
that's
Right, I'll give
fire.
you credit.
That's
But
fire.
these motherfuckers today walking up to their homies, popping their shit like, bro, you dripping. I'm like, why is you touching this man? Right? It's a different, bro. That one I can't. Again, I grew up or the old. Don't get me wrong. I want to get dressed up. I want to get clean, but these motherfuckers out looking better than they girl. Like, bro, you
Nah,
ain't
but it's a time and a place for all that, right? That energy,
100%.
you know, my energy is better served by, you know, investing in my family. I do that shit when it's time to do it. You know what I mean? Every
Right.
now and again, you know, not because we already know we can do what we want to do when we want to do it. Right. But I mean I'd rather my woman or my family look good. They gonna make me look better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
100%.
and it don't change my level of confidence when I'm out. I don't matter what I got on. You know what I mean? Like it really don't. I'm me every no matter where, whenever, no matter what room I'm standing in, and I love standing next to giants because
Right.
I'm still gonna be a giant. That's just what it is.
You know, I was watching this shit with my girl, and this woman said something. She's like, if a man has masculinity, a little humor, and some confidence, he can run the room.
That's it.
Right. I've realized by being out with different guys and looking at my homies, and you know, I got homies that get dressed up, bro, super dressed up, and then get no love. I'm like, bro, it's because the chick can see right through you. Right? You don't believe in you. Right? Ain't nobody else gonna believe in you. And I'm guilty of believing in a motherfucker better than they believe themselves. And I've wasted some time trying to, I'm gonna say, empower people to be better versions of themselves. But I'm like, I realize like I've invested too much into some of these mediocre ass men to try to be more like, bro, I got a set of rules now. If you want me to help you, you got to get, if there's a 22-step program, you got to do the first 6 on your own. I'll tell you what they are, right? I'll tell you what those steps, but you got to get to step 7 before I'm stepping in. Because I was stepping in at line item 1. I'm taking niggas to Ivy Tech to get enrolled. I'm taking them to IUSB to get enrolled. And they never fucking took a class, right? And I'm just like, that's wasted time. So it's a, I don't know, bro. It's just, it's probably fucked up. But the way I was, the dudes I grew up around, it wasn't, the objective wasn't to look great in clothes. It was to get what a chick can get out of them. That was it, right? These dudes today, I think this is what I believe, and I think this was evident with dudes and Kevin Samuels. I think a lot of men are emotionally attracted to other men, but not physically, and it creates a rift in everything that you know, right?
Man,
Like
you gotta explain that. You gotta break that
so,
down a bit. I
so a
like
lot of men, I feel like, are falling literally in love with other men's belief system, right? And so it's an emotional attraction, right? I feel like when motherfuckers refer to Kevin Samuels, the Godfather, he's like Jesus. I'm like, bro, dude has some good info, but you doing too much, right? Like it's, and I'm using him as an example, but I can go down a list of other people. It's
yeah,
just
but I think that same energy you talking about, that quantify that, and we give that to NBA players. We give it to
no doubt,
rappers. You know,
no doubt.
we that's it's yeah. So I agree with you. I just wanted you to explain it more because people. I don't want people to be able to act like they don't know what the
Right.
fuck you're talking
No, yeah,
about.
I think that emotional. I think men today are emotionally attracted to other men, and I don't mean physically. I don't mean anything homosexual, right?
Nah, I know what
Like
you're saying.
when the neighborhood to these days, when the neighborhood drug dealer comes up, everybody want to be around him. I'm like, I look at that shit and I see risk. You know what I'm saying? I see risk. I see threat. I see all the problems that come with that shit. But I see it.
Even a man that wants that type of attention, I think is you know what I mean?
It's a threat in itself.
Some
Right? It's a
pipe
risk.
shit.
Something's wrong. Right?
Yeah.
I got a homie and he's over 40 now, but it took me a while to get through to his ass. I'm like, bro, you are the most normal man I fucking know. You never broke the law. You don't hustle. You ain't sold shit. But you go to drug dealer parties, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you understand that if shit goes south, everybody pointing at you because you the average dude, you the regular dude that they think is clean, which he is clean. But I'm like, you putting yourself in positions that are extremely fucking dangerous, right? That you can't benefit from,
Yeah.
right? So, but we are the mediocrity. Going back to the mediocrity, we are accepting crazy shit as men, right? And what I mean by that is we're complaining about these women that we should have never picked in the first fucking place, right? Dude, oh man, this chick did this shit, like the Chris Brown shit, bro. Like that shit is crazy to me. The
What do you mean?
1200 for a
Oh
picture.
yeah, that shit is crazy.
But motherfucker, man, oh his girl, it was cool till she went viral. No, it was never cool, right? The problem is you accepted that shit. You opened the
Man.
doors. So chicks will listen. A woman is going to do what this will sound fucked up. What her man allows her to do.
No,
Right?
that don't
He
sound
can't stop her from doing anything, but he can stop her from being his woman.
right. That ain't what you. Yeah, that ain't what you saying.
Right?
You-
I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah.
I'm clear on that.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I really feel like I would have to ask myself, like, if it was me, how mediocre would I have to be for my girl to want to go spend $1,000 just to stand next to and take a picture with another nigga?
But another motherfucker, bro.
I'm mediocre as fuck. I mean,
I
might
gotta be.
She might be shallow, but I'm still mediocre.
I mean, I need a woman. I need my woman to, because I'm gonna pour it all into it. So you gotta appreciate what I'm doing to the point where that shit don't stand out to you. Hey, can you have a favorite person you want to take a picture with? Absolutely. Listen, we go to comedy shows all day long. If you want 25 for a picture, we'll stand next to you. You know what I'm saying? I got you.
Bruh, that part. I remember being in New Orleans and we rode past and we seen Usher. I busted you just so I'm like, there go Usher, and I know, like, if you want to take a picture, let's go. I mean, it's a memory. I mean, I know
Right.
you ain't. I'm not worried.
Hey, if
You know what
Usher
I'm
would have asked
saying?
for 1,200,
Man,
I might have beat him up, bro.
You better perform. You better 1,200 as a down payment to do
A tour, a birthday stop or something. Right, I got you.
And you gonna sing a motherfucking song,
Man,
Like,
made out to her directly. Her
yeah,
name in the song
with
for
her name in
1,200.
it. Yeah,
And I know that ain't getting me shit with Usher, but still.
no, I'm saying fuck him. I'm saying that's for her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know what that's gonna do for me in her eyes.
Right. We get to the crib. I don't want to see her thoughts, but I'm gonna appreciate them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not worried about what you're thinking. Shit,
Right. I'm worried about what you're doing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, I just don't. I think that we don't. We don't call out these hoe ass niggas enough.
We don't.
We don't. That's part of the problem. If we did it collectively, because if it's only one nigga doing it, then it's easy to deem you as a hater. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Oh
if it's
man,
enough of us being like, nah, them type of niggas is hoe ass niggas, you know what I mean? They clown ass niggas, then they ain't got no choice but to be
bro.
visible.
I've been called a hater for talking shit to a couple homies about passport bros. First off, I have no issue with a man getting his passport, moving overseas, and go, and immersing in some culture and getting you a wife because you can find something traditional. But these motherfuckers that go overseas and bang some prostitutes and come back and brag, I'm like, bro, you just didn't have the money to do it here. You didn't do anything special. You didn't get treated
Yeah.
better. I'm maximizing my motherfucking dollars. Not really. You spent $2,000 to get there and stay.
And that's
Right?
what I mean when I say we talking about inauthenticity, right?
Right. And I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I'm a pussy eater. I can't fly across the country and get some strange and just like I can't. I gotta be able to. That's why I need my woman. I have to be able to do whatever fucking come across my mind and feel comfortable about it the next fucking day.
You gotta think about it like this: the man that is cultured and understands his vision and is saying, I'm finna move around so I can find a wife that suits me. He not associated with no group. He ain't
Nope.
putting it online. He ain't
That's
documented.
it right there.
He's just gonna go do what the fuck he do. So that's the difference.
You know, I talked to my homie because he's like, oh man, passport bros. Ever since they got hot, I'm like, bro, black men have been going overseas and finding wives since the military, since before the military existed.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, I've got friends who were born in this country, who live in other countries, who are married to women from there. I said, this shit ain't new. Y'all niggas just started telling everything because you can't keep your fucking mouth shut.
So but that's a difference. Them niggas is just going. These is niggas that don't get pussy over here.
That's it.
They can leverage these are vultures. They can leverage.
So let me touch on that because as I said, bro, listen, if you went to another country and you had just as much money as every man in that country, you think you get them same chicks? Oh, that's not the point. I said, bro, you are becoming the men you ate here over there. I said, all y'all doing is exporting this fucked up culture we have.
And now these motherfuckers come over here and think that all of us is like this.
Man.
Like, so once again, we play a huge role in our image and in our the vision that we have for ourselves as a culture. And I just think that if we like the way we celebrate, like if you got mothers right now that are literally banking on their sons being professional athletes, and that's all they are.
Man,
They are
bro.
celebrating them, and then the men will actually endorse it instead of helping a person understand that like this is okay, right? But leverage this. Like if we could do it even in our own schools, we could say, hey, our sons are not playing on no basketball team unless we are getting a quality education and a quality school.
Shoes that can fit on their feet to help their motherfucking
all
body
the
parts.
resources, all the academic support, you know what I mean, to make sure they have a career path and understand the business of it as well. And not only that should also come with a trade as well. You know what I'm saying? And then leverage that, even the collective of super talented athletes to gain what we need for all our other children who may need additional support and direction. We can leverage that as a community, but because we don't value the traditional family unit anymore, we cannot have a collective vision, and then we just gonna stay at the bottom. That's just what the fuck it's gonna be.
And it's fucked up, right? It's fucked up. I don't get why we are okay with the shit we're okay with, right? And I know everybody.
Media, man, I'm telling you, media. It's media.
But media is,
Bro, media.
I can't justify. Like mentally, that doesn't matter to me, right? The media has showed me a lot of fucked up shit.
I'm
Right?
not talking about you. I just
I
said
understand that, but I'm like, again, I'm from that generation. If I can do it, you can do it too. Like it doesn't. We know better.
But you've once again.
But we all know better. Like
no, we all know. No. We all can do better, but we all
Okay,
don't really
okay.
know better. I'm telling you, like what media has done, like media, even I'm saying media is what convinced white people that that they are superior to. Like media is what, like, right? Look at right now. Look at the whole Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese thing, right? Like
that's all media.
White people and black people are living their vicariously, you know, through the racial construct of that idea, and that's all through media. Media is what programs people who don't have strong minds, and I ain't gonna even say it doesn't influence other people, you know, us all, but I'm saying there are certain outliers, you know, like us that are going to have a strong enough mind to not subside to that. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
we are not going to or subscribe rather. So I'm saying that that's just, and I'm not saying it's just in so-called black culture. I'm talking about across the
Right.
world. There are just people who have different types of minds, but the collective
We
humanity,
are followers by
definitely,
nature.
yeah, by nature.
By nature, we are followers.
That's all I'm saying.
It's interesting, right? And again, it probably seems strange. I don't watch predominantly black anything
What do you mean?
since the Huxtables, right? I don't
Okay.
fuck with Power. I don't fuck with the Real Housewives. Like I don't even. I've never seen an episode of none of that shit. I won't watch something that portrays us in a negative light.
Right.
I can do that shit
Right.
by going outside and watching my fucking friends, right? Not my friends, but right motherfuckers I know. I can get on the internet and look at people I know post shit, and it's prime example, right? This chick I know, she went to the same fest you went to. She came back and said, "Here's all the shit that was wrong." And I said to my wife, I'm like, all the shit that was right, and you decided to say all the shit that was wrong, right? Like we love the negativity.
But guess what? I can guarantee you that I'll be willing to bet. I can't guarantee shit, but I'll be willing to bet that that individual chose to go on the day where the entertainers were going to be there.
I'm 100% sure that's the truth. Based on
Okay.
me knowing her 100%.
Right. I went on a day that was going to be more family oriented because I knew what the vibe was going to be. Right. I knew where
Right.
the value of it was at. You know what I mean? And I wanted to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I mean, and I know this. There's always a yin and a yang. There's always a good and a bad. It's all about what you choose to focus on.
I mean, that's it, bro. Right? We wake up, everybody could probably look at something in their day and was like, man, this day was fucked up. Or you can look at this shit and simply say, hey, today was a blessing. I got up, ain't no shit. You know, my health is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember the last job I left before I started my shit. And my boss said something along the lines of, man, you never had a bad day here. Why? I said, because all you can do is send me home to my family. That's the worst shit you can do to me, bro. Like, if that's the worst shit you can do to me, life is gravy.
Yeah.
Because I know when I get to the crib, no matter how fucked up my day might have been, it's I'm cool here,
Man, your family fuck with you.
right? And that's so. So I saw there was a little post the other day, and they were like, "Hey, how much time should a man have when he comes home from work to decompress before he has to deal with his wife and kids?" I'm like, bro, when I get home, my wife is how I decompress, right? That's my
should be,
peace.
but that ain't the case for a lot of people.
I understand, but we also picked that not peaceful motherfucker.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Right?
just saying that they're not gonna be able to relate.
No, and so this is what. So I was having that conversation, and dude was like, "Well, how many men do you think have that?" I said, "I don't know, but as men, we pick our women really fucked up, right?" I got homies like I ain't dating no chick that ain't got a big ass. Like, bro, you that's the requirement you won't fold on, right? Like I know some chicks with a big ass and 10 kids. Like shit, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. We that's another reason why we are mediocre because we are hypersexualized.
100%,
You know,
right?
like too hypersexual. I mean, I know America itself is hypersexualized,
Right.
but I'm
But
saying,
no, bro, for us, it's different. Like we, listen, and I participated in a lot of dumbass ideas, and I participated in a lot of dumb shit. I remember going to the strip club, me and my wife, where I keep it all the way real. We were in Atlanta. I was like, man, I want to hear about this Magic City shit everybody keep talking about. Apparently, bro, I'm gonna keep it real. I must have looked weird and nervous because when I got to the door, was a chick. She's like, listen, it's okay that you got a white girl. I'm like, what you mean? She said, nah, you look like you uncomfortable. Which I apparently I had this look on my face because, you know, Atlanta is all black. And I was more not uncomfortable with me, uncomfortable like if some shit go down, I got to be ready thinking some fuck shit. But anyway, I go in this motherfucker, bro. It's a dude with 30,000 ones on the table. I'm not bullshitting when I say that. He's not an NBA player. He's not a motherfucking NFL player. He's not an MLB player. I don't know what this motherfucker did, but he wasn't famous. And I'm like, this is, somebody's about to throw $30,000. Right?
Nigga.
DJ in the club script. Oh, he got 30,000 ones. Who want to get more? This motherfucker's running to try to outdo him. I'm like, we just fucked off an entire generation's education in this fucker, bro.
But if I get online right now and talk about the level of mediocrity in being a stripper, I will be met with despise from my own people.
That's
just what it's gonna be.
I mean, that, and then it's crazy because you're right. We are a fan of less than, right? We will
Yeah,
justify some other shit, even to the point where people are, well, we ain't like them. Well, it's because we, whatever it is, whoever them is, we choose not to be, right?
Yeah,
It's unacceptable.
you ain't got to be like them, but you need to learn from them. Every
Right.
other cultures learn from us. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? So,
Also, the good and the bad.
bro, it's crazy. Like right now, at this very moment, I have been me and my sister have been talking about doing an event, like a family event, where we was gonna get the bounty house, some games and stuff like that. Do you know one of my second cousins? You know, they drops into the family group chat some shit about having a to celebrate her mother's birthday. She's gonna do a Freaknik themed celebration. And do you know? I'm waiting on like somebody to say something.
Did it go like you thought?
Nobody said anything, and people are joining in, bro.
You
It
should have
really,
shut that shit down, bro. You should have shut that shit
here's,
down.
here's the thing. And which is I'm not. I don't. I'm in a place now where I struggle with it because it's like I know my relatives and how far left
Some
we
people
are,
can't be saved.
and it's not. It's like it's not. It's gonna.
Wasted effort, bro.
It's gonna be a and that's I'm hurt by it, but that's the reality of it. Because otherwise, I'm that type of they know me as the person that's gonna say something, but I'm telling I'm having conversations like, hey, this is weird. I think it's the women's responsibility because it's a young girl that's saying it, but her mama is my age. You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
and it's her celebration. So I'm like, obviously they you know, and they both have these are two girls that have girlfriends or whatnot. So it's already like in a space where it's like, you know what? I just know I need to I know who I can protect and keep from,
Right.
and that's just what it has to be. But I'm just telling you where we at. We are so hypersexualized through trauma, but we won't acknowledge it.
No, I'm with you. I remember having a conversation with one of the homies. He's like, "Man, you talk all this shit, but you don't want to invest time in doing this and that." I said, "Bro, this is when my kids were younger." I said, "I'm investing in my kids. Respectfully, I don't care if other kids fail versus my kids because if I take time away from mine and they fail, I fucked up." Right? Every one of these kids have a father. My job and my responsibility is to raise my children. When I get extra time, I can do it. When I say extra, obviously nobody get extra time. But if my kids are gone, if my kids are doing something with the grandparents, something like that, then I got time to help other people. My number one responsibility is my children. Because if I don't do it, ain't no other man gonna do it. Better not do it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my role. I think sometimes we expect for those of us that don't want to do shit, we expect others to drop everything and do it for us, right? And that's kind of fucked up. I remember one of my homies. I'm at the barbershop, so I tell you how long ago it was, right? Because I ain't got no fucking hair. I'm at the barbershop. My guy was like, "Man, what does such position pay?" I'm like, "Well, about 65, 70,000 a year. Man, you should hire me and give me that position." Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I don't know nothing about your work history. I know what it ain't. Right? I can't, oh man, but I'm your boy. I'm like, that's not how shit work. All right? Like, I work for another motherfucker, right? I can't be like, hey, this is my boy, you should hire him.
That's how we think, though.
Right? It's like, look out for me. I had a same motherfucker, different time at the barbershop. Right? I'm like, man, I used to tell all my homies, when I'm traveling, bro, if you can get there. So I used to when I traveled, I had a lot of freedom with the job. Right? They were like, just spend the money like it was yours. Right? And at that point, I wasn't spending smart. So I was spending like it was mine. But I always get a hotel that had like 2 bedrooms. I used to get a residence that had 2 bedrooms, right? I told all my homies, bro, if you can get here, I got you on the rest. I got a place for you. Food is on me because they paying me, they're going to pay for my food, whatever. I'll shop smarter, cook whatever. Because I used to, back then I was trying to get my shit together and be in shape. I'm cooking meals. Bro, one of my homies like, hey, man, I'm going to go here, man. I'm like, okay, cool. Get the ticket, man. Just go ahead and buy it for me, bro. I'm not finna do it. Like, I'm telling you, I got you on everything else, right? I'm like, you buy the motherfucking ticket. You show up, I got you on everything else. Oh, you act like you don't trust me. I said, it ain't you I don't trust. Right? So, man, so I see him a couple days later. Man, what's up, man? Get your ticket. Oh, my girl said I can't go. Like, cool, I respect that, right? I'm not going to give you a hard time that your girl said you can't go out of town. That's not who I am. But if I'd have bought that motherfucking ticket, I'd been mad at you, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't do that. So I think those of us who don't want to do for ourselves expect others to do for us and literally get an attitude if a motherfucker don't. Right? I've had motherfuckers ask to borrow money and I didn't give it to them and then they went on a vacation the next week. I'm just like, what the fuck? Or they bought a car. Mm-hmm. Or they bought a house. And I'm just like, motherfuckers is outrageous, bro. And I don't want to sit here and just feel like I'm shitting on my people, right? So I definitely want to have a talk one day about all the positive shit we do. But
I don't think this was.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, we talking about the truth. It ain't really about positive or negative because I mean we've acknowledged several times how capable we are. You know, what I mean, we just, but you know, we. I don't think that any of us can argue that when we talk about where we're at socially and economically as it relates to other cultures, and we know how much room we have for improvement. So I mean, this is just an uncomfortable conversation for many, but it's very necessary. But we ain't dogged, we
No,
ain't.
but I just I want to make sure because I know people of all walks of life will eventually see this shit at some point, right? But it's shit that we have to do better, right? It's motherfuckers that when I was 18, 19 in the streets, right, were a little older than me, motherfuckers still in the streets. This is a motherfucker I saw on Facebook just celebrated birthday earlier this year, 52, and he's street as fuck. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck, bro? At what point do you grow up or die? Like, you gotta pick one of these
No,
motherfuckers.
but it's about how we respond to it, right? Because, like I said, it's trash versions of in every culture. It's trash versions of that. I've dealt with families that of all cultures and creeds that are severely dysfunctional, right? Even when we in places that are so-called professional, when you get to know these people, they very dysfunctional. But it's how they control their own narrative. They don't allow that to become their narrative. Is where we need to be better at, and that's holding ourselves to a higher standard as it relates to what we consume and what we allow to be our image out here. Like we should not be encouraging, celebrating, or condoning, or even accepting image of somebody like, you know, a Sexy Red or even a Meg Thee
Swear to God.
Stallion or even we shouldn't allow trap music to become the pinnacle of what hip hop culture is. We shouldn't have never celebrated NWA. We should have never celebrated that.
Hold on. I think NWA was telling us a story, bro. I
Man,
think
no,
you're right
Ice
to a point,
Cube.
right?
Ice Cube was telling us a story.
Okay, right. They
But
were telling us how life was in the real ghettos back in the 80s, right?
so
Those
so
were
okay.
those were what I would have called warning messages, right? Because they never said you want to live like this. They never said, man, you should be like this. They was telling you how fucked up shit was.
But they can't. But they only telling you one side of the story. Even Cube acknowledged that when he did that was his motivation for doing Friday. Like that when he realized, because he was a person that was obviously aware of certain things,
Right.
right? So he even said that he just after so many movies they had it like to where it was like this every day in the hood. It's not like that around here, and we know that it's not. Depending on what perspective you and what angle you tell a story from, you're gonna get a different version of what I'm saying of what or a different reality. And what I'm saying is that while there was a segment or portion of our culture that was like that, there was another side of it.
Well, it's a whole different side.
And I'm saying, and that's every story. When you tell a story from one angle, then to me, like you don't celebrate that. I mean, and when you look at their whole catalog, how much of it was telling the story, and how much of it was just misogyny. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just
I
how much
think the first NWA album was really about a story. After that, it was people like, we could feed this shit, right? Media.
and
We get them
that's what
some
I'm
money.
saying, right?
And we know because whatever fucking reason, they don't separate reality from motherfucking and I shouldn't even say reality from entertainment because like I remember, I think it was called Summer Vacation by Ice Cube. He talked about how they got on a plane from Cali, went to St. Louis, they riding and shooting motherfuckers and getting this money that's crazy. Everybody loved it, but they forgot the part where they went to prison, right? They went to jail, right? They got locked up, they got shot. I'm like, we listen to the shit we want to hear and we
Right.
block the rest.
Right.
I'm not even gonna say we can't separate entertainment from reality. We take the worst part of entertainment and skip the consequences. Right? I shouldn't say the worst part. We take the shit that might be beneficial financially, physically, whatever the fuck, and we skip the shit that's like, oh yeah, here's the reality if you do that dumb shit.
Once again, that is totally our fault. All of
100%.
it. So that's why I said we like, hey, I'm not going to, I can't knock or disregard the level of talent that our entertainers and athletes have, right? What I'm talking about is the reality of how they shape the narrative and what it done to as far as the trajectory of us as a culture, especially when it comes down to what our image is and what we glorify. And what I'm saying is we should have never hoisted these people up here, and just because I would have much rather had even though how Chuck D then was telling the story was a bit jaded. It was just a bit radical or extreme. But I'm saying I would rather have that than the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is this, that at least they were telling us to think. You know
Bro,
what I'm saying?
the realest fucking song, and I listened to that shit this fucking year. KRS One, Love's Gonna Get You, right? And I don't know if you remember that cut, but if you don't, check it out. He talked about how he grew up poor, his neighbor was selling drugs, right? They got into the dope game, right? He became the man. He just went down the shit, but he talked about the consequences of loving materialistic shit, right? You know what I'm saying? He talked about how they went from eating beans and rice to steak every night, right? Because he in the street. But he also talked about how his brother got shot, how the cop, how the cop shot his. Like
Again,
they told you
the
here's the
whole
whole story,
story.
but they gave you all of it,
The whole
right? And I'm
story.
like, man, that shit was Slick Rick, bro. Well, if you listen to a children's story, you
Yeah.
hear that shit. It start off like, oh, this shit is dope, and he's like,
No.
oh shit, this motherfucker's done.
Hands down, one of the. That's what I mean when you a real storyteller tells the whole story. It's a conglomerate of things. It encompasses every aspect of it because it's a positive and a negative. When I say I would have rather have somebody like Chuck D or whatever, I had to, if I had to pick one, I would pick him. But they only told one version of the story too, because every black person wasn't fighting the power. They weren't up against this.
Right.
You know what I mean? This idea that was constructed. Some of us were, some of us weren't. And when you talk about people like Slick Rick, that's what I mean when I'm saying like a person that really tells the entire story. If you're gonna tell the whole story, because there's no way, it's no part of me that's gonna say, hey, tell this shit like it's all good, because this shit ain't all good. It's
Right, it
real.
ain't all good, but it ain't all bad.
I love street music. I come from an environment in an era where there was a lot of violence going on, but we also had picnics and park lunches, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We had candy stores, candy trucks. You know what I mean? We celebrated. I wouldn't trade my life for, if a person
Hey,
said,
childhood was fire.
yeah, it was. I'm saying if a person say, "Hey, would you trade your life, your childhood for a rich version of it, where you was, you had everything afforded to you?" I would
Sound
not
good, but
at all.
I couldn't do it because
No.
everything like this. That's my thing, bro. I'm not a spiritual religious dude, but I'm like, man, every single experience you had, your left turns, your right turns, put you right where you at, right? I mean, that's how crazy life is, bro. There's certain times in your life, if you would have made a left turn, you wouldn't have no kids, right? Or different kid. Like that shit is
No,
shit is crazy. So
you
I
talking to
appreciate.
somebody. The reason why I can that resonates with me so much is because when I per my poor choices in mating initially, when I had my sons, that trauma wouldn't allow me to even entertain the idea of having any more kids. And I just saw at my brother, we just constantly said, man, you ain't gonna have no daughters. I'm like, nah, I'm done. You know what I mean? Especially, like, why would I want a daughter in this world? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, nah, I see that for you. I just don't think you're done. I don't think you're done, bro. And even though it wasn't on the terms that it could have been based on my ability, once again, my daughter's still here, and that changed my life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It did. I can't really put it into words, but the people who were standing next to me and seeing what it did to me can attest to like how what you're saying is so real. Like I can't imagine my life without. I can't see it anymore. I can't see my life without that piece of me and that level of inspiration and a newfound value for women. You know what I'm saying? Like that was literally the cure to my trauma with women. You feel what I'm saying?
Bro, I do. And I said something the other day to some folks. I said, man, listen, I said, most of what we do revolves around a woman in some form or fashion. I said, you have some men who have had fucked up ass experiences with women and they got their life together and they did big shit just so they could be like, ha, you fucked up, you missed out on me. In reality, if it wasn't for the way they treated you, you wouldn't be you either. That was your driving factor, right? Then there are dudes who are like, man, listen, I got this amazing woman. Let me get my shit right and give her a good life. Right? Like, if you have a good woman, the value of a woman, a good woman, and I'm even going to say a value of a woman in general, because sometimes a bad woman will straighten your shit up too, right? The value of a woman is something I think we don't respect anymore, right? I'm looking at people, man, what's your point of relationship? What's your point of relationship? Like, for y'all, nothing, because you've been burned up.
Mediocre men, right?
Right.
Like
The value of a woman
like-
is impeccable. Like, I mean, bro, my whole entire life, I owe a lot of my successes to my woman. I remember sitting down. I'm old. I'm gonna date myself.
You keep on saying that you was
Right.
not
I'm
on
gonna date, bro. Pre-internet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I remember telling my girl, I want to do this computer shit. Right. I want to do this computer shit. I just don't know what to do. Bro, I went out, kicked it with my homies, whatever. I can't remember what the fuck I did. It was years ago. I come back. My girl, like, she got a little paper she wrote, like, got three or four different companies. I'm like, what's this? She said, I went through the phone book and found companies that'll do some IT training, and I wrote, I want you to call them tomorrow. Right, bro, if I wouldn't have did that shit, if she wouldn't have did that shit, everything would be different.
Yeah, it's your woman's belief in you. You know what I mean?
That shit changed, bro.
Here's the thing. We talk a lot of shit collectively about women, and we will not admit that everything that we do is for women.
Hey, listen, I'm the first one to tell you, right? Everything.
Everything that we do is for women. We everything we build. I mean, if you remove that, that's the motivation. I don't care
for every fucking thing.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like that, right? I think that we are, we are that just as valuable to them and to the healthy women that are able to acknowledge that. But I've been around women like that, like understand the value in a man and like don't know what they would do without a man. And that's
normal shit.
That's normal, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what I would like. Why would I want to imagine a world my world without women? Why would I want to do that,
bro? Because for those that do, that's the dancing in the circle of dudes, right? That's you know what I'm saying. Like I remember, and I don't fuck with dude anymore. But I had a homie, bro. Like he was like, "Oh man, me and my guy, we're going to the DR, man." I'm like, "Bro, why the fuck you going with your boy? You got a wife, right? Are we just going to kick it, man?" Now the other homie, single, right? I understand why he going, but I'm like, you about to dip on your family to go on a boys trip when you like on some shit finna like I could get it if it was like a bunch of husbands like, "Hey man, we going out, we going to do some shit." But you with the single dude. Right, who has no woman, so you know what the fuck he on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, why are you
living vicariously through another man? That's all.
I'm like, why are you going on a fucking to the DR, bro? Like, it's a lot of places y'all can go, but we all know, right? You know what I'm saying? The attraction is high and the cost is low, right? You know what I'm saying? What motherfucker spend on a couple drinks here, you get a whole goddamn woman for 2 nights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, that was weird as fuck to me. I'm like, bro, you like, what is it about him that makes him better than your girl, especially considering y'all kids are at an age where y'all can go do some shit and they self-sufficient, right? I'm like, that was just weird to me. But I also understand not everybody values their woman the same, right?
Yeah.
I always say this shit and it sounds fucked up. The realest nigga on my team is a white girl. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. That's just the truth, right? I'm not fucking with nobody else over her. It don't matter. Like, that's who I want to travel with. That's who I want to go. Like, don't get me wrong. I kick it with my guys. Right, but in a respectful ass manner, right? We and one of my homies, we go and like on every other Saturday, some shit like that. We go hit the gym, and then we waste the motherfucking calories. We go grab a couple drinks and grab lunch, right? That's just what we do. But I'm not picking a vacation with my boys over a vacation with my girl, right? If I got that time, I'd choose her. Now, there's times when I do have some homies that will get together. And we're like, okay, man, this year we might go here, right? It ain't no far shit. It's drive shit. We ain't jumping on the plane. We ain't doing no shit like that because we want to know. Most of us are husbands, right? Like, I want to be able to get home if some shit goes south.
Yeah.
Right? Because reality is shit can go south at any time. So,
yeah.
But I don't know, bro. That's this mediocreness in our men today. Have our men really comparing themselves with women, right? Well, if women do this too, I'm like, God, get the fuck out of here, bro. That shit is never to me. I don't know.
I think we need to start addressing neutral men. Like, I don't like neutral men. I think neutral men are the equivalent of mediocre men. I think that standard is very low. I think that the men, those of us who consider ourselves to be solid men or solid patriarchs rather, need to be more accountable. Even with the situation I explained, like, I'm gonna have to figure out. It's easy for me to be like, man, I'm staying over here when I talk about the issues I see with my relative treatment, you know what I mean? But I need to figure out a more assertive way to address it. Because at least that's my role, that's my job.
Right. See, I'm at that point where I think we just gotta disassociate, right? That's where I'm at. Like, it's too many that can't be saved, right? And I'm not saying that's your people, but I'm just saying from my perspective,
I respect it.
There's so many that cannot be saved. we really just got to be like, you know what? If you don't meet this criteria, whatever it is we feel comfortable with, don't
Yeah.
fuck with you,
I guess
right?
what I'm saying is like, and I agree for the record. I guess what I'm saying is that I still need to make it clear where I stand at,
Right, right.
what I stand for. You know what I mean? Like I'm not giving no instruction on no like, nah, we not doing this or we shouldn't do this. I'm just going to make it clear that, hey, I don't like this, and this is the
I'm
reason
not,
why
I'm not, I'm not gonna be there.
I'm not
Whatever
with
there it
it.
is, right? I ain't fucking
Mhm.
with it because that's, you know what I'm
Like,
saying.
nah, it ain't just because I live down here and y'all down there. It's because
I can't fuck with that.
I don't want I that doesn't it don't sit well with me.
I cannot like if you goddamn it out, you get out the car and you start twerking at the fucking red light. I can't communicate with you. Like whatever's in your mind is not some shit I want to fuck with. Like
So because it's
I,
like this. Go ahead.
I gotta dumb myself down to associate with you, and I don't
Yeah,
mean that
right.
like in any other fashion. But that shit that makes sense to you in that manner does not even resonate with me in any form or fashion. Like the shit leaves me bamboozled. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm like,
I
what
think
in the fuck?
that's where I was at with it. I'm just like I don't understand why would I think family? Why would I think anything sexual? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It just doesn't. That to me is a symptom of something deeper within that dynamic that needs to be addressed. And I just yeah, I'm not.
You
I'm
know
with.
what's fucked up, bro? I didn't even realize. Like when you said that, I was thinking just like that shit crazy, but I didn't even look at the sexual part, right? Like, cause that didn't register to me. I'm just like, why would y'all want to? That's just,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, you
it
went.
didn't. I didn't think like it.
That
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
that's how I analyzed it. Like,
But you're right, 100%.
because I was trying to understand, like, where did this come from? Why would I? And then and what I learned and what I stand on, I always tell people, like, if you a person that is in your right mind and grounded, certain shit is not going to ever make sense to you. So don't try to make it make sense.
You're right.
Just identify enough to where what you need to understand why you stand where you stand at. And that's where my mom like, you know what, this shit don't even make sense. This is a sexual thing. We talking about a family thing it's never going to make sense. So I'm not finna try to make it make sense.
I think that's one of the things where we see a lot of women today justifying bullshit, chicks dancing on motherfuckers and doing all kind of like. There's no reason for you to bend over, stick your ass out just because you heard some music playing,
Nah.
right?
I mean,
Like that wasn't.
you got a partner to be like. Here's my thing. I understand we are hypersexualized people, right? And I understand that a lot in our culture we got a lot of that history, right? But I think the remedy to that, or a reasonable remedy to that or solution to that, is to find you somebody to be with forever, and y'all be whatever y'all want to be with each other in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%, bro.
like
Listen, you gotta have. Hey, this is going into some weird shit, but you gotta have that, right? Like I'm a role player, right? Again, my wife don't look like me. Sometimes we'll be out and about. Prime example, this past weekend, we out and about Louisville, Kentucky. I go get a drink from the bar. I walk up to her, I'm like, hey, where your husband at? Right? We shit talking. This motherfucker looking at me like, what? I said, come on back to my room with me. She get up and we leave. Right? Motherfucker looking like, what the fuck? But like, it's for us, it's fun and games. Right? But people doing too much shit with motherfuckers with no connection.
yeah.
Right? No
You give a
connection.
lot of yourself away. You don't realize how much of yourself you giving away when every time you do that. At least give it to a person that's going to value
That's
that.
going to appreciate it and want to invest. I think that's what one of the major things that is lost, right? We have allowed or convinced women that their womb has no value. It's just a baby making machine. Don't matter if you got, it just don't matter. You can give it to anybody. And I think that's a major problem.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think we put the value, and it's a lack of having that conversation with our loved ones about understanding the value of you putting your life on the line, right? When my daughter had my first grandson, right? She had an emergency C-section, right? And scariest shit in my life, bro, right? Because the doctors run in and they doing all this shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
you put your entire life. Pregnancy is not something that's
No,
guaranteed to be good,
real
right?
shit.
There's damage, there's stress, there's risks, all this shit. I'm like, and y'all just doing it for any motherfucker. But people ain't even gonna be there. Like that's the shit that fucks with me the most. I understand that there are men whose moms lied to them about their pops, kept them away from their pops, and that's horrible. But I also know there's a lot of motherfuckers just be like, they just have a bunch of kids in a bunch of places. and don't really give a fuck how the kids turn out. And that shit is crazy because just think about the amount of shit that woman went through from the creation of that baby to the birth of that baby. Now, if she's done it 4 or 5 times with 4 or 5 dudes, you might not really put value on it because you're like, fuck, she don't care, I don't care. But I think we've lost, and obviously it's the value of family, but we've lost the understanding of what it means to allow someone to access your womb.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. I don't know. I guess the question is, does it make more sense? Which makes the most sense to discuss how we got there, or how we need to come, just focus on how we need to come away from there? Because sometimes you need to. I guess you do need to understand how you got to a place, but sometimes you don't. I don't. So I don't know where we're at.
I think we're in the middle with, we need to acknowledge the shit is fucked up.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is we need to not pretend it's okay, right?
Or pretend it didn't happen.
Well, we can't pretend it didn't happen because we're looking at the shit, right?
But we do. We act like.
I guess to a certain extent, right? Like I know a young lady, very beautiful young lady. I say young, she's probably 30 something right now. 6 kids, 3 baby daddies, never married. I'm just like, God damn.
Yeah, I'm saying when Black History Month come around, we're gonna be acting like we came so far.
I think we came far, but we're going back. Right? You said something. I don't know if it was you or not, so I apologize because I don't want to put words on somebody that didn't do it. But it was relating to the Juneteenth celebration. You're like, why am I going to celebrate when they say it's okay now?
Yeah, no,
Right?
that was, and I don't think that we've come far at all. I think that we've been convinced that we've came far when in reality we've always been those people. We've
I think
always.
we regressed, bro. I think we went back.
Well, yeah, in retrospect we did. So what I'm saying, I don't think it was a time where we came far. Like I know that some of our ancestors went through some things, right? But I'm saying that our literal history depicts us as brilliant people all across the world. Our real culturally rich history. Now we reduce ourselves to just American citizens who marched with Martin Luther King for integration. Then I guess we have came far. I guess, but I mean everybody wasn't. I just know my grandmother, nor my great grandmother ever told us about them being slaves. Or being oppressed. They never acted like
They
that.
just lived in the environment they lived in.
Yeah,
Right? Like my grandma, and I'm gonna roll with you on that one. Right? The very first time, it's kind of fucked up. The very first time I heard my grandmother talk about how fucked up it was when she was little is when she was at the end of her life and she had dementia. And she was in the house and she's like, man, we would get out these white people's house because she had a nice house. Right? Like her mind was slipping to where, I mean, my grandmother, she couldn't tell you how old she was. Mm-hmm. Right? We didn't know. My mom was born in 41, right? And that was my grandmother's first child. So I don't know when, I couldn't tell you how old my grandmother was when she had my mom. I couldn't tell you, she didn't know, right? Nobody fucking knew because back then in Louisiana, you didn't fucking know. Right?
But didn't have her citizenship documents.
Birth certificates and shit, bro. Back in Louisiana, born in the early 1900s. For black folk,
yeah.
Shit, you might have got one copy of paper, but the hospital didn't keep one. So if you didn't keep up with it,
that's
right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's reality, right? And in Louisiana, shit, and in my short time of being around them, right? Shit, I probably can't count the number of floods that fucked up the house on one hand, right? I mean, I can. It's been a lot. So keeping up with shit like that is probably crazy, but in reality, bro, it was about just in appreciating what you have. It was a different mindset. I don't think, and maybe it's because shit was so fucked up, but we didn't complain about all the fucked up shit because if that's all we did, we would have never got nothing done.
Yeah.
Right? We appreciated the shit we had, and now, I don't know. One of my guys say the safety net too big, right? Motherfuckers can't fail. And sometimes I disagree, and other times I'm like, I don't know, right? I know who we are. If there's no safety net, we really finna fuck some shit up, right? Because we gonna survive.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And at this level, in this generation, our concept of survival ain't, what it should be. It's people walking around, young people, with guns because that's what we need to survive.
Yeah, I think we definitely missed a huge opportunity with with our most recent generation of children because they are some of the most fearless individuals.
Man.
Well, we just missed the opportunity to shape that. I really believe that, and it's some of the saddest shit. I didn't always realize it from the, out the gate, but when I actually sat back and really looked at it, it's like, man, this was a group of fearless kids that we had, and we just missed the mark with them. So I don't know what the future's going to look like over the next couple decades or whatnot, but shit, I think that we didn't pretty much, we can spread, some of us can spread positive energy, but collectively we failed miserably. Our generation did. We ain't do shit.
100%. I'm not. Me and my guy, he'd be like, "Oh man, your generation fucked up too." I'm like, "We probably more fucked up." I said,
Yeah.
"But that's no fucking excuse to continue to be fucked up."
Right.
But that's the reality, bro. I think I disagree with you a little bit that we missed the bus on shaping. I think we missed the bus on shaping them right. Motherfuckers shaped them. It was just the wrong. It was the wrong molding
Yeah,
with these young motherfuckers.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying we missed the opportunity to put ourselves, position ourselves as a culture, to really pull ourselves up, because we didn't instill the proper value systems, and that's cultural infrastructure is really what matters when it comes down to what the growth and expansion of a people. And we did not facilitate the proper cultural infrastructure. And so I just think that we need to continue to having conversations, and hopefully they fall on the right ears, with the people who would have the right energy and the right I guess the youth to be able to facilitate some of these practices. But for us, shit.
So I know we're up against the clock, so I'm gonna close on this. How do we get our youth to utilize technology for benefit versus sharing 8 million shares on a fight video? Right? A shooting video goes viral immediately. Right? How do we switch from using social media and technology in general from a negative and over, I'm going to say, I'm talking collectively, right? From a negative outlet to doing something positive. How do we handle that, bro?
So it goes back to what, remember you were asking me about if I had the resources, would I invest in us? And so I think that there are enough of us who have the resources to create healthy spaces for our children to use their energy healthily, and create and be, their creativity, their passion, and then learn how to interact with each other healthily with media and technology. Just create these different these spaces to where they're allowed to do that, and we just guide them and restrict them as well. I think that's the best. That's where we start at.
Hey, I'm with you. That goes back to guiding with an iron fist, right? That restriction. So, hey, I appreciate you, bro. You know what I'm saying? As always, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the time. I appreciate doing this shit. Let's do it again Sunday night, fam.
Absolutely.
For sure. Peace.
Peace.